Hello, welcome to Star Wars Spellhead. I'm your host, Josh Chapman, and today we've got a guest who is, I think, putting in the biggest effort to be on this show pretty much ever. I don't think anyone's ever put in this kind of effort. We'll give her an intro anyway before we go any further. It's Jess from the Star Wars Refuge. How you going?
Hey, it's good to be here. Now, I'm doing all right.
Good. Now, a bit of backstory. I hope you don't mind me bringing this up straight up, but what time is it where you
That's
are
fine.
right now?
It's 6:13 a.m. in the morning.
That is insanity. That is insanity. And I said to Jess, while we were teeing this up, because it's, COVID land, everyone's working from home. Like, I've got time during the day. It's like, it's great because you're in the United States. I'm like, well, great, because your early evenings is my daytime. I can work, so I can carve an hour out of my work and have a chat to someone. I've done that with a bunch of the other guests that we've had on here. And you just go, no, 6 a.m., 5 a.m. works all right for me.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I was saying, I work overnights, so I have this morning off, but this is actually like still sleeping in for me.
Wow.
So I was like, this is fine. This is easier. This is before my family gets up and starts getting crazy. So like, this is fine.
Nice. Nothing like a little bit of, time to yourself to knock out some Star Wars talk.
Exactly.
Now, how's your Star Wars world going at the moment? How's it doing in this, there's no movies going on at the moment. We just wrapped up the Clone Wars. We're waiting
High Republic
for Mando.
got delayed. Did you see that?
I did. Well, that was the first thing I was going to bring up. So they weren't shy about, they won't tell us anything about Star Wars Celebration, but they're quite happy to just push this High Republic thing back, no problem. To be honest, I didn't even see that coming. I completely forgot about High Republic. Were you following it quite closely?
I was. I am a Kevin Scott super fan. We have like a running segment on our show where we just say it's like an obligatory Kevin Scott reference, and we just bring up like a title card that we've brought up something by Kevin Scott again. But like, I love Kevin, and I love all 5 of the authors. But so I've been following it, and then I was hoping it would be fine because it's publication, right? Like, we can all order it from our
everyone's at
websites
home typing at home. Like, what do we need?
Yeah.
Like,
even if you want to shop local, like my local bookstore just started being able to buy through its website. So I was like, this will be fine. And then they were like, LOL 2021. And I was like, no. Not the High Republic.
So weird. Like, something had to go. Like, I've had guests on before, and we've talked about, like, they've kind of, Lucasfilm have ass backwards fallen into this good luck with Star Wars because, they finished the last movie in December before the COVID came out. They got The Mandalorian out under the thing. They'd push back Obi-Wan. They'd push back Cassian. There isn't a movie until the end of next year anyway. They kind of managed, like, if you're going to have some time off, they managed to somehow have this gap where nothing was happening. Like, they could actually, take this little break. But the poor old High Republic just was the sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, it's just like, man. Although it's strangely appropriate considering that the series, the announcement for it was delayed like 3 times. So, because I think it was supposed to get announced at Celebration, and instead they teased it.
Yep.
And then they were like, "We'll tell you in January. We'll tell you in February."
We'll just wait for a perfect moment so then we can release it where there's nothing going on, and they're probably looking at that little window going, hey, there's a nice big empty window there for us. The world will be normal, that we could just slide in with our High Republic and get people excited, and now we're going to have to wait. And it does, I don't know, we don't know how long. They kind of just said, hey, stay tuned. Did they actually say when? Did they say next year, or they just like, hey, it'll just come when it comes?
There's dates for Charles Soule's novel, which is 2021, and I can't remember if it was Claudia's or Justina's book that also got a date. But I don't think the 2 comics got a date yet.
Yep.
So there's some of the things have dates and some of them don't.
Yeah,
I can find it.
I wonder if there's like a knock-on effect of that, because it was sort of, when they sort of announced all this High Republic stuff and going, oh, it's a smart move from Lucasfilm. They want to start something fresh. Books are pretty unrisky as far as you don't have to commit a lot of you don't have to commit a lot of money. It's not like you're making a new movie or anything. And then basically, if it takes off, you can springboard off that and start making TV shows and cartoons and potentially movies if there's stuff people love. But now you've pushed that cart back a year now. They're gone, that could have... We would have hoped by mid 2021 this thing would be rolling. We'd have a good idea of what people love and what they're into. And we could start making plans. But now we're going to have to just bust something else out.
It's saying Star Wars' .com's article says it's Charles Soule and Justina Ireland's book, which is Light of the Jedi and Test of Courage are both January 5th. And then Into the Dark, which is Claudia's novel, is February 2nd. And then the two comics, which are Cavan and Daniel Jose Older, neither of their comics have a date yet. So,
stay tuned.
But I agree. It's just they getting this stuff going, because there's been rumors, because they called this Phase 1 when it got announced. So it's like, well, if this is Phase 1, what is Phase 2 going to look like? And there's been rumors of a game like Vader Immortal, like a virtual reality game. I don't know if that's true, but people have been kind of hoping for that. Which would be what it would take for me to get an Oculus, but we'll see.
It's a big commitment.
It is. As somebody who gets motion sickness too, I'm like, I don't think this is going to go well.
I'm really going to like this. There's going to have to be some stuff I really like. I'm going to be sick afterwards for a while. And did you ever do the Rise of Skywalker in 4D? Did you have that available where you were? Where you go it's like a ride and the seats move and the...
Yeah. I have a theater that has 4D seats. They call it something else at my theater, and I can't remember what they call it. But I never did it because they had a test seat in the lobby of my theater, and you sit in and you just ride through like a trailer. It was like a trailer for Olympus Has Fallen or something really dumb, and it was just like moving me back and forth. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do this. This feels ridiculous. I want to watch the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I had some friends here saw it, and then there was some talk of maybe some of our crew in Melbourne going to do it, but it just was like, it's just... It just feels like you're on a ride or something like that, and it's just sort of, getting jigged around, your popcorn's flying around everywhere. And
I feel like I would do it for a movie I knew well. Like, if they re-released a Star Wars movie, maybe I'd do it. But if I'm seeing a Star Wars movie for the first time, I don't want to be like, oh, wait, what's going on? Wait, was that Mustafar? I don't know. Wait, why is Palpatine there?
Are they kissing? What's going on? Get me off this thing.
No, I was fine with that.
You were fine with that. How was your... So what did you do Rise of Skywalker opening night? Did you sort of have seats booked? Do you have a little crew that you go with? What's your Star Wars opening night look like? Are you the ringmaster who organises all your friends and stuff? Yeah, pretty much anybody who comes on this podcast is their friend's ringmaster.
I have a friend who I've seen every first showing of a Star Wars movie since Revenge of the Sith with her, including the Clone Wars movie. So we went to the Revenge and Clone Wars at midnight, and then we saw...
You went to Clone Wars at midnight? Oh, wow.
Yes.
That is commitment. I don't know anybody who's done that.
There were like 8 of us there.
I was going to say, you're going to sit there like, geez, a good thing we booked our seats ahead for this one. We've got to make sure we catch Stinky the Hutt. And, make sure we don't miss that.
Oh, and all that Obi-Wan Ventress dialogue. That stuff's nice. But anyway... we went for that, and then we caught every Disney era movie at the first IMAX showing.
Yep.
Which was not midnight because people are boring now. But the first showing, I think either 7 or 6, it was different movie to movie. But yeah, no, I always made sure I would stay up. I was the person. What movie was it? I think it might have been Last Jedi. I was on watching the TV for the football trailer so that we could buy our tickets or whatever. And I was on there literally hours in advance. And I ended up getting our Last Jedi tickets like 2 hours before they were supposed to go on sale because our
nice.
theater like
Dropped the
started
ball.
selling them online early.
Nice.
And I was like, well, I got them now. So
Yeah.
I was that person.
That's not that. That's a lot of the. It's not a unique thing in the people that I talk to on this podcast. But yeah, I'm a similar thing. We had the crew down here in Melbourne. We've done midnight for all the Star Wars ones down here. The Star Walking fan club put it on, and the first couple of ones when Steele from Steel Wars was in Melbourne, he would put something on. But he's not in Australia anymore, so we just sort of did our own thing, and I had the microphone out for Rise of Skywalker, poking people's faces and stuff, and yeah, it was good. Like, I think it's my least favourite of the three, but I still enjoyed it. I know people have problems with it, but it's quite interesting going back listening to that recording of that night, and some people are a bit bummed, some people are like, I don't know, some people, the levels are sort of different and stuff, but did you sort of walk out feeling satisfied, or what was your general first impression? You just like, punch in the air on the way out?
Yeah. My first thought was, I'm not checking Twitter till tomorrow. That was the first thing I thought. I was like, nope, I'm not even going to look. But no, I enjoyed it. There's definitely things that I would like to be a little bit different. And there's definitely some story choices where I'm like, but overall, I had a good time. Like, I had fun. I was exhausted, but I like J.J. Abrams. I was a fan of J.J. Abrams before he came on to Star Wars, so I was really excited when he got announced for Force Awakens. And so, like, his breakneck pace style I actually like, because in 10 years when we're still watching the movie and we've all seen it several times, like, it's still going to be fun. And I liked the Rey Palpatine reveal. I was fine with that. So, like,
were you spoiler free going in? Do you go spoiler free, or you kind of So you try to don't tell me yet. Like, I'll watch the trailers. Don't tell me anything else. Yep.
I watched the trailers. I stopped watching the TV spots because I thought there was too much even, and then I stayed offline for like a week and a half. Like, as soon as the soundtrack dropped, I got offline.
Yeah, right.
Because I was worried that we would have another Qui-Gon's Nobling situation.
You must have been very young for that, though. Surely you probably
that wasn't spoiled for me. I was 8. I don't think I understood
you weren't
what
21 like
was.
I was, and it's just like, god damn it! Like, why did I pick this CD up? It was like in the shops as well. Just like,
Just shows Lucas was like, it was a prequel. Who cares?
Right. People don't know he's not doing this. He's not in the last one, so we're.
It's funny to go back and watch prequel trailers, because prequel trailers tell you like the whole movie.
Were you in the?
I don't know if you've revisited them.
Were you in the Phantom Menace panel at Celebration?
I watched it, but I wasn't there.
Oh, you weren't in the room. Yeah, I was in the room for that, and the panel was fine. Like, it was fine, but people kept thinking that Ewan McGregor was going to be there, even though I knew deep in my heart that Ewan McGregor, because everyone's like, Ewan McGregor was going to be there, and they're going to announce Obi-Wan, and that's going to be like the holy shit moment of the the thing. And of course, Ewan McGregor was not there. And then there was like, I remember like the morning going in, and there was some rumor going like, somebody saw Ewan McGregor at a hotel thing, like, he's in town, and Ewan McGregor was not showing up. But so it was just the usual suspects, it was your Anthony Daniels and your Ahmed Bests and all those, Ray Park and stuff, which was fine.
Ian.
But it was funny, they showed the trailer at the start. So they showed the first teaser trailer. And that was sort of the bit I enjoyed the most, because I got really sort of nostalgic about it, because I just remember, when it came out, whatever it was, 98, and, the internet was very hard to come by then. And I remember one of the Star Wars sites back then, maybe the Force.net or something, and got a handy cam in a cinema, and they had like a video screen about the size of tiny, like the size of a computer mouse, like half a computer mouse, really tiny. And I remember trying to load it to watch it and couldn't get anywhere. And then I think eventually Entertainment Tonight, which was on at like 2 a.m. in Australia, was showing it, and I managed to videotape it on my VHS and then watch it like over and over and over and over again. Yeah, so that's where I saw it. Like, did you go to Phantom Menace in the cinema? Do you remember?
I did. So I have kind of an infamous story about when I saw Phantom Menace. So
we're all about those.
I was 8 years old. And I don't think I went opening night. Like, I don't really have a memory of how soon I went, because, there was no internet, so it wouldn't be like I would have known a whole lot if I didn't go right away. And I went, and when I was a kid, I got really bad motion sick. sickness. Like it was a risk to take me in the car, motion sickness.
Wow.
And so we went to Phantom and we got like middle seats, right? Like middle row, middle column. And I remember I was enjoying the frick out of it. And we hit the pod race scene and
Oh, no.
I got sick in the pod race scene. And my mother had to take me to the bathroom and I spent the second half of the movie puking in the bathroom because I got sick watching the movie. And like I have this distinct memory of being able to come in for the end of the movie, and my folks were worried that the space battle was going to make me sick. I don't know if it happened and they yanked me down or if they had already seen the movie or what. But I remember standing in the aisleway, like, you know, where you walk around and there's the wall and you loop and then there's the seats. And I'm standing there and my dad would watch the movie too. And anytime it cut to the space battle, he would yank on the back of my shirt and like force me around the back so I couldn't watch the movie. And then I was allowed to watch the ground battle and I was allowed to watch the saber duel, but I was not allowed to watch the space fight.
What's going to happen to Anakin? Where is he? Did he stay out of that cockpit? I don't know. Like, what's going on?
But I think that proves when you're a kid, you're really just like there. I'm not sure how much of it you really were worried about if the story makes sense.
You had your own like special edition version or your own like Phantom edit before anybody else. You were like doing the Phantom edit. Your dad was giving you the Phantom edit before the movie had even come, like just as the movie come out.
I always joke that people like to make fun of the prequels, and I'm like, well, they literally made me vomit. So I feel like that's
Cop of that.
And I loved it.
Do you remember when you managed to see it all the way through? Was it just at home on video or something finally? Like
that movie was like cursed because I went again and I had a stomach ache and I didn't get sick, but I just felt miserable. And I went another time and I was 8, so I wasn't good at regulating myself. So I had to pee like 5 times during the movie. And I don't think I ever saw Phantom in a sitting in the theaters until like, I think I was at home release before I finally saw
the whole thing. You're like, oh, this makes a lot more sense now that I've seen it. I'm able to piece it together from 4 different screenings from all the bits that I've seen. Try to figure out what's going on. Did you see it? Oh, actually, because they re-released it in 3D, didn't they? Did you manage to see it on the cinema?
They did.
So you actually were like, hey, finally, my time to shine.
Yes.
I know it's in 3D.
I was like, what's going to happen? I was in college when it came to theaters, and I'm weird where even though I'm not nearly as, I don't struggle nearly as much with motion now, so I can see 3D movies. But I was really excited. I actually like 3D movies. I think people either are all about 3D or they're like, this is the stupidest thing. Why do I have to go? You know, it's kind of one or the other. But I really liked it. I found when I saw it in 3D, I would notice details I'd never noticed before because they would like make stuff in the background pop out. But it also might have just been seeing it on the big screen, not as an 8-year-old that did that too. I'll forever be mad that I never got to see the speeder chase from Attack in 3D. Like,
yeah,
that hurts me inside.
They were going to do them all. Did they ever?
Yeah.
Because I know, well, Force Awakens came out in 3D. Because I've got the 3D Blu-ray because I bought it so I could get the JJ commentary, and that was the only release. Like I bought Force Awakens on Blu-ray and then went out and got the 3D one just so I could have it. And then I gave my old copy to my friend's son, and I had a 3D TV just because the time when I bought a new TV was the time where they were all just 3D. You know, they were just like 3D is where it's at. It's in there. So I actually watched it in 3D just because my Xbox played 3D stuff, and I was like, and it was, you know, it was cool. I was like, oh yeah, this is interesting. You don't really need to go back again, but I don't. Did you actually watch Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker in 3D? Was the IMAX in 3D? I'm just trying to remember. Have they given up on 3D?
Oh, you would think I know. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Rise was in 3D IMAX. I think Jedi was too. I think it was just Rogue One and Solo that weren't in 3D here.
Yeah,
for some
right.
Reason.
It's funny like that.
But Rise was.
It's funny that like they're doing more Avatar movies. And it'd just be crazy if Avatar 2 came back and all of a sudden 3D was back. Like for some reason it just, you know, like the first time, it kind of dragged 3D to the consciousness last time. And now it's like, oh, 3D's back. All of a sudden it's like 3D TVs are back. And we're like, we're doing this again. It's like, yeah. Avatar 2 made 5 billion. It was the biggest movie ever, Avatar 2. Who knew? Like everyone wrote...
I am so. I just am genuinely curious. Like, I say this with no malice or expectation. I'm so curious how Avatar 2 was going to do. Because, like, Avatar 1, I like James Cameron's Avatar. I would like it more if it was an hour shorter, because I'm not sure the plot justified a movie that was that long.
Yeah.
But, like, it was fine. It was friggin' beautiful. And I try to tell people, because it was like, oh, Endgame beat Avatar's record and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Avatar had a record because it was the first, like, real event go see it in 3D movie, which means its tickets were more expensive, which is why everyone went to see it, versus now, like, people go because, you know, you want to go see it. Like, Endgame was out in 3D and that sort of thing. And
yeah. But Endgame kind of cheated, because they were like, oh, we got close. Let's just put it back out again. You know, come on, everybody. Let's just re-release it.
And I was like, we all know. And then, like, all the people were like, no, we're going to go see it again because we want to beat Avatar's record. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever.
You can't
write off for another 3 hours.
You just can't write James Cameron off. Every time, you know, he pulls it out of the hat. I don't know. Like, yeah, I'm like, I'll go. Like, Avatar 2 comes out, whatever it is, if it's Christmas. Yeah. Is it Christmas this year? Christmas next year? Christmas next year? If I'm not doing anything,
I think it's next. Yeah,
I'll go. Like, there's no Star Wars to go to.
There.
I'll be going to. I'll go to the movies again when we can go to the movies again, and you know, it'll be fine.
Right.
But, yeah. It's like they've just, some of the cinema stuff here, just on sort of COVID talk, we're just starting to get out of it here in Australia. We flattened the curves. We're being allowed to do things again, so things are opening up. Kids are going back to school this week. Cinemas are opening in the next couple of weeks and things, and kind of going, oh, you know, what are we going to get to see? And I'm like, oh no, 40th anniversary of Empire. Why don't we get Empire Strikes Back in the cinema for a week, and we can all go watch Empire and the thing. Now, your Twitter handle, Yoda Bauer,
yes.
big Yoda person. How did you celebrate 40th anniversary of Empire?
I live tweeted Empire. Since Star Wars Day, I've been slowly rewatching them as I've had time to, like, really focus, and so I did that. Ironically is the wrong word, but, like, I'm a bit of a heretic. My favorite of the originals is actually Return of the Jedi.
Wow.
But I was watching Empire, and at the start of my thread, I was just like, time for Star Wars Episode 5. Yoda does stuff. Crazy how there are no scenes in this movie without Yoda. People are just used to my antics by now.
Right. Well, he's in, like, you know, he's in quite a lot of it.
He's in a lot of it.
He's in a lot of it. He's just in Star Wars movies in general. He's in a lot. For a guy who was in, like, a movie and a half for a while, then all of a sudden he's in, you know, he's in all 3 prequels, and then he's back in Last Jedi. Now, did you know about Yoda in Last Jedi? Did you have a feeling, like, when that camera sort of swung around and you got the back of the head?
I think with Last Jedi, it was one of those things where, like, months before, there were a bazillion rumors, and Yoda was one of the rumors, but I didn't take it seriously because I didn't, like, I think was it Force Awakens or Last Jedi where, like, the opening shot was going to be a hand floating through space?
Oh, yeah, Force Awakens, yeah.
It was Force Awakens, but it was like, I kind of put it in that category. I'm like, yeah, sure, okay, Yoda will be back, whatever, sure. And so then I, like, forgot about it. And then I saw the movie, and I think the first time I saw it, I was all caught up and everything. But, like, the second time I saw it, I was like, you know, I think I might have known about this, and I just forgot. But I don't try to pay too much attention to rumors, because you never know which ones are going to be real.
Well, that one feels like, if you're going to make a rumor that could be possibly, like, Yoda isn't a massive stretch just because you're going, well, Luke's back in this one, there's Force training, kind of feels like you could probably put a Ghost Yoda in. It probably would kind of make sense. It's a bit like Ghost Luke in Rise of Skywalker. You're like, well, it's probably very likely. That, you know, there'll be, you know, that, I was quite happy to see. I was like, oh, great, he's there. But I wasn't sort of like, oh my God, this, you know, it wasn't like a baby Yoda shock. It was,
right. Oh man. And that's the thing too. And it, like, if you think about Jedi Masters who could show up, it's easier to get Yoda than to bring in Ewan or to bring in Liam or, like, one of the other Jedi that we would be excited about. So, like, if they're going to stick a Jedi in there, like, it makes sense it would be Yoda. So, like, I don't know. I was excited to see him just because at the time I feel like even though they were referencing the other 6 films in the sequel trilogy, like obviously Han, Luke, and Leia were there, and they were talking a lot about Vader. Like they weren't necessarily bringing in a lot of the stuff from the first 6 films. Like we hadn't spent a lot of time on a planet from the first 6 films, and so like it just didn't occur to me that they would bring in something not super relevant to the plot. And then Yoda showed up, and I was pretty excited. And then whenever Yoda shows up, if I don't know Yoda was going to be there, there's this intent. There's 2 feelings that are happening simultaneously. There's he's there, and I'm excited, and oh gosh, I hope whoever wrote this knows what they're doing. And then I have to like hold my breath for a minute because I'm like, okay, Yoda's here, but am I going to hate this? And so like, but then I love that conversation. It's amazing.
He doesn't
so
start
really
rapping
happy.
or something like that, or
Hey, I think there's a Legends book that implies that like Mace Windu was really into like theater dancing or something like that, and I'm like, we need to bring that detail back.
Wow, I feel like that's one of those ones. If you ask Samuel L. Jackson that in an interview, you just get a bit of a look. Like he just
He's like, no.
That's funny. You're just talking about like the planets in the sequel trilogy. I was just like, is Tatooine the only planet we go back to? I'm just trying to think now.
I
know there's like snow planets. I know you do a flashback.
Yeah, in Rise, you see Bespin and Endor in a flashback.
Yeah.
Or not in a flashback,
like
but you see the other... in the random montage that has not enough planets for me to feel like it's a real montage, but it's nice anyway. But no, because I remember we all thought Jakku was going to end up being Tatooine, and then it wasn't. I don't think...
And then we thought
I feel
Pisana
like
was Tatooine, and it
if there
wasn't.
is one, it's a blatantly obvious one that I'm just forgetting. But no, I think Rise is the only one where we really see... Oh, and Mustafar, but that's also in Rise.
Yeah. It's crazy that they kind of managed to control themselves, really. Like, the temptation would have been so, like, strong to just... Like, I guess Tatooine... I mean, yeah, I suppose, like, but why would you... Like, Tatooine kind of makes sense to go back to, but why would you go back to... I mean, I was sort of, I was so sure that Death Star wreckage must have been on Endor. Like, I was just like, where else can it go?
Right.
It's going to drop straight down. Like, why would it be anywhere else than that? And I still think that's a bit weird that it happened to just get blown, like, sideways instead of straight down, or whatever the explanation was.
Well, I mean, it kind of went... I mean, at the end of the day, if you go back and watch Return of the Jedi... There is no hunking wreckage, so it can go anywhere it wants. I remember having the same thing. There's the Aftermath trilogy, I think, is where the survivors of Alderaan get wreckage from the first Death Star. And I remember reading that book and going, I don't think there's any wreckage, but this is fine. And then we get to this movie, and I'm like, whatever, it's fine.
What do they do with the wreckage from the Death Star? Are they just like setting it on fire, or are they like making it into artworks or something, or turning it into...
I think they make it into a station. I think they take the wreckage and they use it to make... It's either that or they destroy it ceremoniously, but I can't remember. It's been 2-ish years since I read Aftermath now.
Yeah, right. So they just sort of stand
and it's
around
only one of the
dance.
interludes, so it's not like a big plot line. It's like one of the little spin-off chapters.
Right. It feels like something that Cara
somebody
Dune might have done.
Somebody will listen to this and leave you a comment, and they'll go, she was wrong, it was this, and this is what happened.
Not that many people listen, I wouldn't worry. Maybe that's something like Cara... That strikes me like something that Cara Dune might do. She's got a big chunk of Death Star 1 that she's just got, out the back, and she's like, I just throw beer cans at it and stuff,
I would love that. That would make me so happy.
Maybe we'll see that in season 2. We did touch while we were on Mando. We should touch on Baby Yoda. What was your when was that bigger? Was that? I mean, nobody saw it.
Thank God it was a surprise.
Yeah.
It's
one of those. Thank goodness we didn't know.
I had taken that morning off of work because I you understand. For me, with Mandalorian, I like the Mandalorian. And I was excited for the show, but I'm not that into bounty hunters. I like some Mandalorians, but I'm crime in Star Wars isn't my favorite thing. So I was ready to support the Mandalorian because I wanted a good Cassian show. I wanted a good Kenobi show. And I'm like, if Mandalorian does well, these other shows that I want more are going to have more resources. So I'm full in to like support Mandalorian.
Yep.
And so I'd taken the morning off work just because I didn't know how the launch of Disney Plus was going to go here in the States. And I didn't want to have to like stress out about spoilers and like the site loading and being at work all morning. So I had the morning off and no idea what I was in for. And I was just watching the episode. I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. You know, some of the lines are a little hokey, but like, this is good. I'm digging this. This looks good. And then they get to the pod and they're like, we can't find the 40-year-old man. There's just this little egg thing. And then they're like, some species age differently. And I went, no, they didn't. Like something just somehow that was just like, they're not gonna. And then you see the little ears and I was like, what? And then you see the little face. And I have to explain something. Like I'm a person that will well up in a movie. I'm not necessarily a crier. I'm not necessarily somebody who's going to like go into a full sob, but like, unless it's Pixar. Pixar is just unfair. Like everyone leaves Pixar movies.
They know how to get you.
Crying baby. Yep. But like other movies, I'll well up. There'll be tears in my eyes. I'll get moved. Star Wars, I've kind of hit that level of like maybe there was like a tear or two that I would kind of count as crying, but I'm really just welling up. When I saw that little face and the little hand move the blanket, I full on heaving sobs. I was in bed in fetal position in the dark by myself. And I remember touching my face and there were hot puddles on my face because I was just crying. And then I thought IG-11 was going to shoot him, and then he didn't. And then I was crying more. And I didn't even see the end of the episode where they're like, their fingers touch. Yeah. Like, didn't even see it because I was curled up in a ball. Like, and it was this intense feeling of like, it was almost actually sadness because I didn't realize he was a puppet. I thought he was CGI. So I was like, I will never see something this cute in my whole life. And it made me sad. And like, that's why I was crying.
Wow. Isn't it just great that wasn't spoiled? You know, like it's just like how did I like just like hearing all this Mandalorian stuff now, and it's just like this is happening and this is happening and this is happening and this is happening. Yep. It's just like how they managed to keep a lid on that is just beyond me. And it's funny too because it's like this new show, this behind the scenes show. They're just like carting Baby Yoda around under the arm and just he's just like kind of there. It's not like they were using a greens like blob and painting him in later or anything. Like it just seems that that must have gotten out, but they must have just been so careful to do it. But
they must have known it was just that sacred. I don't know. And like there was the fourth episode, they had all those kids, and like none of those kids said anything. And
it's so weird. I just love to be in like that, a fly on the wall in like the Lucasfilm boardroom, and like you've got like Kathy Kennedy sitting at the end of the table, like this long table, and then there's Favreau and Filoni kind of behind me. It's just like, and then like the Mandalorian walks over to the thing, and the pod turns up, and inside you see the familiar ears of a Baby Yoda. And Kathy Kennedy just sort of gets up, and she's just like, "Well played, Favreau."
She does the Citizen Kane laugh.
Let me get my checkbook.
Oh, yeah, like we're doing it. I just want to know, like, was there fear of it? Were they like, this is going to be the best? I really wonder. I want to know how that.
Well, I hope that they do an episode. Like, I hope this, they're doing this making of thing. Like, give me the Baby Yoda episode, or like how we came up with it, how we kept it secret, like how we did the puppet. Like, give me all of that.
Full episode on just the child. Well, because they've barely talked about my son in any of the making ofs. And
well, this is why I'm wondering when they shot this stuff, because like all the round tables and things, like you feel like they must be doing it close to when they're all there. Like they're not bringing them all back 6 months later. So they might be going, hey, you're all here, come around, we'll talk about this thing. So maybe they're just like, hey, we dare not speak its name.
Right.
You can't talk about it or something. But I don't know. Like it just seems crazy that they must. There's got to be an episode
of just Baby Yoda. It was amazing.
Have you got any?
I'm really glad.
Oh, there you go.
Sorry. I was gonna say I'm really happy that I didn't know, not only just because I had that spiritual experience when I saw my son. He is my son for the first time. But it's also, I feel like if they had used him in the marketing for the show, I would have been anxious. I think that if you, because especially as like a super Yoda freak, I would be like, a baby Yoda, how's it going to look? How are they going to use it? Like, I feel like I would have been nervous. And then I feel like during the whole first episode, I would have been like critical versus the surprise. I was like, oh, what is this? This is amazing. This is where I'm kind of, why I'm so against spoilers for a lot of things. I feel like you lose the emotional reaction. I know some people claim that they can keep the emotional reaction and whatever. That's great for you, I guess. But like, that's not me at all. And I don't like to know too much like that ahead of time, because then I'm just not worrying about it. You know, in the same way we all worried about, maybe, I don't know about you, but like so many people worried about, am I going to like The Rise of Skywalker for months? And I think that really hurt people going in to see it, because I know I was spending a lot of the movie going, oh, so-and-so isn't going to like this part, and so-and-so is going to like, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to watch the movie. Yeah. And like, I've been able to just appreciate the movie more and more as I've watched it, because I can stop thinking about all the discourse and just take it for what it is. And so like, I was so glad to not have that before The Mandalorian.
Especially when you get to the last one. Like, I've said this a couple of times. Like, it's sort of like there's no do-overs, there's no take-backs. It's sort of like, oh, this is the end is the end. The story is the story. Like, it's, you know, people, whatever, had a problem with Force Awakens or Last Jedi, it's like, well, this could change. I'll do this. You know, we'll get it. This will happen in the next one. And for some people, it was like, great. For some people, they felt that things got fixed or changed for the better, or things didn't get fixed, or things were left and that was better, or obviously impossible to please everyone. But again, when you get to that final thing, but you know, in the case of, like they said, the Skywalker saga, like that's a nice little neat bow to put on the end of these movies. But obviously, you know, Rey's only 21 years old or whatever, you know, she's got a whole life of adventure still. Like, she's not gonna, you know, she's not, I know there were some people going like, I can't believe she just stayed on Tatooine and like gave up her life. It's like, no, she was just taking 3 steps and walking on the Falcon and flying off in a minute with BB-8. Like, she's got to give Poe his droid back. Anyway, you think he's gonna play that? Just wheeling back around to Baby Yoda just quickly here while I've got the Yoda expert here. Like, where do you sit on Yaddle? Like, is Yaddle the forgotten child of the species? I know you're kind of going, you know, could I ever love another Yoda? Like, Yoda is Yoda, and all of a sudden the child comes. But like, there was Yaddle before. Like, is Yaddle just like, it's not the same?
Yaddle has a pretty intense but small fan base. Like, if you can go to some corners of the internet and find some people who are just really into Yaddle. You know what's funny too is Yoda was always my favorite character, even as a kid. And I knew about Yaddle, and Yaddle made me pumped because that meant there were more Yodas. But for some reason, like, I was still really focused on Yoda. I think part of that, though, is in Phantom Menace, Yoda looked like a meth head. And even at 8, I did not know why Yoda looked like a meth head or really what a meth head was, but I knew there was something wrong with how Yoda looked. At 8, when I didn't understand that Liam Neeson was an actor, like, I knew there was something wrong with Yoda. And
it was weird that they did that. Like, that puppet, that Yoda's only, you know, he's whatever, 900, and he's 20 or 30 years younger, and he looks younger. He looks like he's about 300 years younger. Like, he looks weird. Like, yeah. I don't know what they were thinking there.
I only watch the Blu-ray or Disney Plus versions of Phantom where he's CGI now. I'm totally like, do not replace him in the original trilogy, but like Phantom, I'm totally fine with him being digital now because I just did not like that puppet. But no, with Yaddle, it's funny. Like, you'd think I'd be super into following Yaddle, and like, I get excited when Yaddle does have stories because she has some Legends content actually, and she's appeared in some of the new canon stuff, but she doesn't get as much attention. I feel like there needs to be something there. Yeah,
I suppose it's sort of like I think George was like, oh, just put a Lady Yoda in there, you know, whatever. And then, you know, they did it, and then it kind of been like, oh, actually, Yoda's more interesting with the less you know about him. So let's just quietly not refer to her anymore, and she's mysteriously absent in Attack of the Clones and all the other ones, obviously, as well. So whether she just gave it up, went farming, or did she get iced in Order 66, we don't know. Like, it's sort of poor old Yaddle, but we'll have to see. But I mean, do you want to know the child backstory? Do you want all the nitty gritties? Do you want to keep the mystery around? Like, do you want to see when they say, like, you got to find these people? Like, I kind of took that more like, I want the planet of Yodas. I was going to say, do you want the planet of the Yodas?
Yes, I want the planet of the Yodas. I actually it got no response whatsoever, which is what I understand because it's probably true. But no, I Taika's on Twitter and I added him and I was like, Planet of Yoda's ? Because he's doing that movie. I'm like, come on, tell me you don't want Taika doing a Planet of Yoda's movie, because that would be wild. No, I'm again weird, and like I totally get why people want mystery around Yoda, and everyone's like, well, they ruined the mystery of Boba Fett, and like, people want to know less. I'm the person that actually wants to know actual Yoda's like full life story and like give me the whole thing, because I already know what it is in my head. And that's part of what I got so excited with Baby Yoda, because my headcanon for Yoda always was that he would be young for a long period of time. Like, so many people were like, Yoda was a baby for 50 years. I'm like, obviously, duh, even though there's like no reason, but it like fit what I would always go. So I'm like, come on, give me that full Yoda backstory. But no, I would love to know what's really up with Baby Yoda. And, the theory that he's the scientist, Dr. Pershing, he has a chameleon symbol on his...
Yep.
Yeah.
That he's a clone or something, maybe. But, yeah. I hope not. I feel like that's a bit of a cop-out.
It would be much. Well, the thing is, especially if he is a clone of Yoda, that would be weird because of... Unless there's age acceleration, it would be an odd time to clone Yoda 50 years back. Baby Yoda and Anakin actually have the same birth year, if you follow it back.
Oh, right.
So that's interesting. Maybe they have the wrong chosen one, just saying. But
yeah.
But yeah, so without growth acceleration, it would be a weird time to clone Yoda. But I think they could be using him for cloning.
I could say they would want to make more Baby Yodas if they think they could, suck the force out of him or do something like that. But or tie it to Palpatine's return. Well, yeah, I mean that's sort of the other thing where you go, well, we are in a sort of like, Mandalorian is a middle chapter, so it does. Yeah, we do have events that have happened after it, so it's like, well, obviously there's no Baby Yoda there. So is he sort of conveniently sort of left somewhere out of the story and all that kind of stuff? I don't know. Like, who knows? Like, do you like what do you want to see?
Ezra?
What do you want to see? He gets Ezra. Yeah, he gets conveniently just sent to another planet. What do you want to see in Mando season 2? Like, aside from Baby Yoda, do you want to see the sort of story open up and get bigger, or I sort of feel like it has to move on from Bounty of the Week, doesn't it? Like, personally.
Well, I think the biggest I don't even want to use the word problem, because I like the first season of The Mandalorian, and it sounds like I'm coming at it like I didn't. But, like, I liked that The Mandalorian had an overarching story, and I also didn't mind the Bounty of the Week stories. I think it struggled in only having 8 episodes. So it felt a little disjointed of, like, okay, with 8 episodes, there's just not enough time to establish multiple patterns to get used to, is this going to be something that has a more serialized story, or is this something going to have a more episodic story? I think even 10 or 12 episodes would have made the Bounty of the Week episodes feel more relevant and less... And now here's just one for no reason, and then, we're coming back. Like, I don't feel like the amount of episodes gave us enough time to feel a rhythm, even though, for the most part, I like those stories. So if we got more episodes in the second season, then I think it's fine to have the overarching story. But then, they got to make money somehow. So, like, there's still going to be bounty hunting somehow, unless he learns how to mind trick and just gets money or something. They got to do something.
Well, that's they've got to be careful they don't get that problem of like the Luke Skywalker problem in the sequels is like if you have a character who can solve every problem, you got to find a way to conveniently have him. Either you have him in exile or you have him not wanting to play ball, because if he just goes, "Yep, let's go do this thing," he just turns up and he just solves all your problems. So, Baby Yoda did enough to sort of get him out of a few sticky situations in this season. But you don't want to get to a point you're just like, well, there's no, like, he's just going to wave his hand and get him out of this mess, every week here. So
I thought they balanced that well in the first season too, with him being a baby, so he just doesn't understand that they're in trouble. So like the times that he does step up and do something are the times where it was like really obvious something bad was about to happen, versus like with the TIE fighter, he's like, "It's a cool plane, Dad." Like, he doesn't really understand that this is a dangerous situation.
Do you want to see him start talking?
Yes, but not in season 2.
Season 8 or something, maybe.
Yeah, like give it a little bit more time, because I think the danger with this is if you've established that he's still a toddler after 50 years, he's probably not to then have him like pick up a language and then go from broken words to sentences in like a season or two. I don't really like. I think if they're committing to this he ages differently thing, I want them to commit to the he ages differently thing. So I think it would be weird to get through the series and he doesn't speak. But I don't want like by season 3 they're having full conversations. Of course I say that and maybe it works and I'm not going to be like, "Rawr," but if I were in charge, I would have him start speaking down the road a little bit more.
Yeah, well,
unless there's a giant time jump.
Yeah, like I would just like my youngest daughter is nearly 18 months and she can pretty much walk. She's a late bloomer for walking. Like a lot of kids walk way earlier. She's sort of just getting there, but she's been talking. She's sort of ahead on talking, late on walking. So it's that thing where it's like she's got a few words. She can sort of say a few things, and she can walk a bit. And then a lot of times she just likes to scoot on her knees and stuff because it's it's low to the ground. Low to the ground. But I'm kind of going, Baby Yoda is probably around the same thing, 18 months to 2 years equivalent, as far as like, kind of, hi, can react and stuff. It doesn't really know what's going down. It was just funny because my partner, she enjoys Star Wars. She'll go see a Star Wars movie. She's not going to go midnight, but she'll go a couple of days later and things. And I was like, there's this new Star Wars TV show. Do you want to watch it? She's like, oh yeah, I'll give it a go. As soon as that Baby Yoda turned up, like, she was like, it's funny you're calling her your son. Like her parental instinct just kicked in, like big time. It was like, wow. Just see, we'd only had the baby for about a year then. The second baby, like, oh wow, like that doesn't have an effect on people. It certainly does. Have you got any merch? Like, have you got the little black series or anything, or?
My mother actually has a bunch of Baby Yoda stuff. Weirdly enough, don't have a lot of Baby Yoda merch. Mostly because for a long time, a lot of the merch was like animated versions of Baby Yoda, and like,
what can we churn out quick?
You'd think like because I'm such a Yoda freak, I'd own everything, but because I'm such a Yoda freak, I'm really picky. And I don't actually have a lot of stuff. Like, I actually don't have very many Yoda t-shirts because I can't find any ones that aren't like memes. They're all like Yoda saying "Peace, man" or something. I'm like, I just want like a really BA shirt of Yoda doing stuff like you would get for Rey or Kylo. And so like so much of the Baby Yoda merch was this like, here's a production still on a shirt says Mandalorian, and like I don't know. So I haven't
done a Yoda shirt yet. I do merch stuff for the podcast and mash up stuff and sort of like usually Australian sporting stuff with Star Wars, like really niche, or Mon Mothma with Metallica and stuff like that. But I haven't done Yoda yet. I
saw that shirt going around. That was cool.
Yeah. All right. Maybe I'll have to think of something cool for Yoda. Maybe give Yoda the t-shirt he deserves, or Baby Yoda, or what? One or the other.
Yoda and Baby Yoda hanging out.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Just broing out. Well, they were alive at the same time for a while.
Yeah.
For nearly 50 years.
And we don't know a lot. It's possible that Yoda and Baby Yoda could have crossed paths at some point. I mean, like, maybe he's...
What was he doing the 50 years before? Like, how did he
Well,
end
I mean,
up there?
if he's the same age as Anakin, you know, he could have technically been under Jedi care, and somebody got him away.
Oh, there's a Clone Wars. Another season of the Clone Wars now.
We need it. Come on, Dave. Come on, Dave.
All right, we're
I mean,
getting
it's not likely. It's most likely that he's just a thing, but like
a thing that's been found. Now, before we wrap this all up, what else are you looking forward to? Like, we talked about High Republic, you know, being pushed back here. You mentioned Cassian and Obi-Wan. Is that your two sort of big things you're looking forward to? I mean, like, we don't know anything about this new movie now, so is it sort of like, at least I know Cassian's coming, I know Obi-Wan's coming. Have you got some like must-haves?
Mando season 2 is coming.
Mando season 2. Have you got some like, this is what I want to see Cassian, this is what I want to see Obi-Wan?
Yeah, I think that Star Wars is really gonna grow. Like, I think Disney Plus is really a good place for Star Wars right now, just because I feel like at least where the fandom is, we all want those more niche stories. We want different niche stories, but we all want those stories, and like Disney Plus is a good way to kind of bring those to life. I hope we always get movies, but you know, if they're going to be spin-off movies, at some point we have to realize that like solo numbers, you know, at some point we got to realize that solo numbers are okay. Like, it's going to be fine if a movie doesn't like break records. And so I think that's really where the big media is going to go. I'm really surprised we don't have an announcement yet on another animated series. That's presumably something we would have gotten at Celebration, and we haven't. And so, you know, I'm kind of excited to see what comes down the road and at least gets announced there. Because every time they've announced an animated series, it hasn't actually been that long of a wait. It's usually like, we've been working on this thing and we didn't tell you.
Yeah, they can do it all in-house when anyway, we get that, so it's not like anything can leak, really.
So, right. So if we do eventually get that announcement, I'm presuming that will happen fast. And animation is something you can do while being socially distant. So, you know, that's something that wouldn't get delayed too much, hopefully. But yeah, and then I am jazzed for like I love reading the books. So like Queen's Peril's coming out soon. I don't believe that one's been delayed. We have a Thrawn book this summer. We have the Poe novel comes out in August still, I think. I don't think that one's been delayed. Shadowfall, the next Alphabet Squadron book's coming out. I love the comics, but I tend to read the comics in trade. So I don't get like as amped. So like I know Afra started over again, but like I don't get as amped for comics because I'm always 6 months behind on comics.
I've read the Afra. I've read the new Afra. That's good. She's sort of like, you know, getting into scrapes as usual, getting into her usual hijinks.
Perfect. As Afra should, because I love her. The original run was so good.
Yeah, it's there's plenty of stuff. It's just, you know, it's just sad that it, you know, we touched on it when we started that, you know, we still don't know what's going on with Celebration, but all sort of, you know, things are pointing towards a postponement. We'll know next. I mean, at least in the case of the Australians, you know, we're probably not going to get let out of the country anyway, even if they go ahead with it. So sadly, we're hoping that they postpone so we can go, because traveling internationally is off the table for us at the moment. So it feels like a lot of these sort of like things that they might have dropped at Celebration, stuff like Taika Waititi and all that kind of stuff. You feel like that's you know, they would have just waited a few more weeks and brought him out on stage. Like, why bother? Like, just, you know, do it then. Get him to come out in his little, you know, banana pattern onesie and, you know, whatever he's doing.
Exactly. My gut says the only reason why they haven't officially announced what they're doing with Celebration is because they don't know what they're doing instead. That's what my gut says.
Yeah, I heard an interesting. I was listening to the Sith List, and they had Alice from Force Toast on, and she made a good point of just saying that they might be waiting for. I think they have to wait for the governor or to officially shut them down, because from insurance point of view, then they get their money back. So basically, because if they cancel now, it's kind of like, well, they're just cancelling. But if it's a thing that's kind of out of their control, if the governor's like, hey, no things until next year, then they get their money back. But I'm sure behind the scenes, like, they're probably secretly going, hey, can we put this, you know, contingency plans. They're basically just a way to pull that lever, I suppose. But
if you were at any, I've only been to one Celebration, but I understand that it was pretty indicative of the experience. And the the way they made decisions on that, I would be really surprised if they have made any decisions by July, frankly. So, because I don't know if you remember, but like the rollout on the lottery for the big panels happened like months, like mere months. I think it was like in February before April, and everyone was like, "You've decided on this new system now."
Yeah. Oh, we were just talking about going, are we going to have to like camp outside in Chicago? And it's like, we're Australians, we're used to the sun. Like we just, snow day nearly killed us. Like that, it was...
I was going to say, there was the blizzard day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A bunch of like 10 freezing Australians just like they're going, what is going on here? This might be okay for you guys. Well, hopefully, that whatever it is, like I have seen photos that I took in Celebration, and you're like in the background of the photo, like over to the left and stuff. I'm like, oh shit, there's Jess. She's in that photo over there, or she's just like there. Like we obviously mix in similar circles, but didn't really know each other. Then like it'll be.
I love the one where I'm like in the background of Catherine. It's like the closest we ever got to.
Yeah, I think that's the one. Just when we're about to leave, and she's like, "Take a photo of me looking sad because Celebration's over," and she's looking sad. And then there's just you just over to the side there, probably thinking the same thing, going, "Oh, if I walk out now, then that's the end of that." I think it's like the last 5 p.m. on the last day. And they're just already packing chairs up and things. It's like people are sad, and the staff are just like, "Get the hell out, so we can clean this thing up, so the car show can start set up for the car show tomorrow or whatever it's going to be." Well, thanks so much for coming on, Jess. Thanks for getting up early, or being up early, or doing your thing and working within reasonable Australian time zone stuff. Tell everybody about all your awesome things that you've got going on, where they can find you.
So I'm easiest found on, I don't think that was English, but I'm the most easy to find on Twitter, either at Yoda, which is my account, and then at Port Haven Forums is the handle for the Star Wars Refuge. It's a long story. But on YouTube, youtube.com/the Star Wars Refuge, we've been doing a weekly live discussion of the Mandalorian Gallery episodes. I've had Regina Sanders, who's also on Unmistakably Star Wars. She's been kind enough to join me, and we've been discussing Mandalorian because it's like her favorite thing. And then I do KOTOR live streams, and then once all this pandemic madness is done, I'm going to go back to doing more regular content on there as well. I've been an essential worker, so I've been working instead of doing a lot of stuff, but I've been keeping the live streams up. How dare I do stuff? So that'll get back on the regular, but we're always tweeting about something, or if you go to any of our YouTube videos, there's a link to our Discord, and we're always chatting in there and stuff too. So that's the best place to find us. And then soon summer will kick up and we'll get some books and we'll be talking about those. Awesome.
Well, thanks everybody for listening. If you made it this far, you can go to StarWarsSpelledOut.com and get the old episodes, leave a review, buy our merch, all that kind of stuff, all the regular things. Find us on Twitter. Thanks again, Jess. Hopefully we'll hang out in person in Celebration whenever that will be. But
yes.
Can't wait. Whenever we get a date, we can all start making new plans. whenever that will be.
Oh, I want that. Like, every time I see the end of Rise, which is so funny, I keep calling it Rise because I always call it Tross on my channel, so I don't know why I've decided it's called Rise now. But whenever I see the end of Tross, and it's like that hug with Rey, Poe, and Finn that some people love and some people hate, I'm always like, that's going to be us at the first celebration where we can all go. So
and touch each other.
Everyone will just be stroking each other's faces, and it will be like, this isn't weird, I promise.
That sounds pretty good to me. I'm looking forward to it. Awesome. All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me here.
No problem. Speak to you soon.
Bye.